here at the Trrc in our sittings. We ask that your Holy Spirit will be with us, be with all the witnesses that will testify here, and we ask that they will testify to the truth, and that you will grant the commissioners and the Trrc the wisdom to be able to discern between falsehood and truth. And at the same time, we continue to ask that you continue to reconcile the people of this nation, continue to bring healing to the people of this land, and make this land, as we are known to be the smiling coast, to be an ever-smiling nation, so that everyone will be happy, everyone will be at peace, and your judgment will reign within us. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop. Council, are we ready with today's witness? You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. And good morning, everyone. Obi Van, can we please have the witness on the screen? Good morning, Madam Witness.
Good morning, Council.
As you already know, my name is Mariama Singate, and I will be questioning you on behalf of the Commission today.
Okay, thank you, Mariama.
Thank you. Before we start, I'd just like to administer the affirmation to you. So you repeat after me. I state your name.
Sarata Jabi.
Do affirm that.
Do affirm that.
I will speak the whole truth.
I will speak the whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Just before we start, I'd just like to go over certain rules that will help smoothen this process for us. There is simultaneous interpretation going on, so I'll ask that you speak slowly and you speak clearly so that the interpreters get all that you're saying. I'll also ask that you allow 3 seconds to lapse after I've asked the question before you answer it, so as to get a better understanding of ourselves. The topics I'd like to discuss with you today are, first, your biographical detail, first to know who you are, then your career as a journalist, your arrest and detention at mile 2, and finally we'll deal with the impact of your arrest and detention on you and your family.
Thank you.
Can we start now?
Sure.
Can you please tell us your full names?
My name is Sarata Jabi.
Sarata, where are you currently residing?
I'm currently residing in Birmingham, United Kingdom.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Versailles, in URR.
Can you please give us the dates?
26 July 1983.
When and where did you attain your primary and secondary education? I
attended my primary school. I first started at Biographical Primary, and this was 9-1. I did my primary one there in Western region, and then transferred to Biographical Primary School in CRR, where I did my primary 2 to primary 6. Then later proceeded to Biographical Senior Second. Then I sat my grade 9 examination. From there, I proceeded to Muslim High School in Banjul from 1999 to 2002.
After your secondary education, what did you do?
Immediately I finished my secondary school, I would say my high school rather. that was the time I joined the Point newspaper.
Did you have any prior training as a journalist before you joined the Point newspaper?
No.
What motivated you to join the Point newspaper?
Since my childhood time, I'm a type of person that always want to know what's around me. I was kind of a bit curious. I always wanted to know what's going around me. And during my school days as well, I was engaged in quiz competition and debate as well. So when I was at Muslim high school, I was part of this Young Writers Club. And seeing people, journalists, people like Amisila, Ami Bojan Sisoho, I feel like these women were doing a great job in our community, in our nation, I would say. So I feel like I could join the field in order for me also to contribute my quota.
Can you please tell us the year you joined the Point newspaper?
This was in 2002. It all happens when I was living with my sister, and there was this boy that was under my sister's care. He always come home with newspaper, always read. And there was a day I asked him, where do you usually get these papers from? He said to me, my brother normally give it to me, and he was working at the Point newspaper by the name Sana Jawara. So I told this boy that, could you kindly ask your brother if their paper is recruiting, because I definitely want to join the media to work. Then after this, he told me that, yeah, I asked my brother. He said, you can come to the office and ask for Deyda. So the following morning, I went to the Point newspaper and asked for Deyda. One of the reporters went to Deyda's office and informed Deyda that someone was looking for him. So later on, the guy came back and told me, Mr. is ready to see you. So I went into his office, I greeted him, and then he welcomed me and asked me to take a seat. And then he said to me, how may I help you? I said to him, I want a job. And he said to me, you want a job? I said, yes. And then he smiled. He said, he asked for my details and my educational background, and I him that just graduated from Muslim high school. And he said to me, okay. So we had a bit of conversation. From there, he asked me to write down all the conversation we had. Then, which I did, I wrote everything, every bit of it. I didn't leave anything out. After I gave it to him, and then he read it and told me that you have a very good memory. I think this you will be. This is how to call it. This is a good quality for becoming a journalist. Yeah, you have a very good memory. And from there, he called one of the senior reporters, Mamadou Justice Dabo, and introduced us. And he instructed Mamadou Justice Dabo to train me, guide me in news writing. And then I went to the newsroom with Mamadou Justice Dabo. He told me a few things about the news writing. Then he asked me to follow in the then that's how I started. Usually he will, whenever he's editing or writing stories, he will ask me to come sit by him, and that's how I was going until he got so busy. One of the reporters by the name Modu Sanyang, he's late now, then took over to train me. I used to go to the course with Modu Sanyang. He trained me how to write court stories. So that's it.
Who was Deyda Hydara?
Deyda was the managing co-founder and the managing editor of the Point newspaper.
You've already told us that you were also writing court stories, that is reporting with respect to the courts. What else were you doing when you started with the Point newspaper?
Later on, Deyda gave me a column, DCC, which normally comes every Friday. It's a women column. So I was given that role to concentrate on writing about women's issue. I usually do interviews and write articles that empowers women, and anytime there is any program in relating to women's issue, that will give me the invitation. So yeah, that was it.
Can you please give us a brief background of your career progression till the time you left?
Like I told you before, I started at the Point newspaper as a trainee reporter, and from there I then contested at GPU's Congress in 2008, where I was voted as the first vice president of the union. So from there and until 2008, when I was elected as the first vice president of the union, and from there I was serving that position until we were prosecuted and sent to jail. That was my career. That was the role I was holding, that working at the Point newspaper as well as at the GPU. GPU is not like a paid work, it was like a volunteering one. So that was it until when I traveled to England.
Thank you very much. We have received evidence of the state attacking the freedom of the press by violating the rights of journalists. You've already told us that you were persecuted in 2008. Aside from your personal persecution, during the time that you were a journalist, can you please tell us if you have witnessed or heard of any persecutions of journalists?
I was harassed directly, but I've heard of stories of other people who has been attacked, who has been arrested, tortured, and detained. People like Deyda himself, he has been questioned many times. People like Alaji Yoro, people like Madi Sise, Musa Sedikan, and Chief Mane. Everybody knows how his story was. He disappeared. So honestly, I've never been harassed. I've never been tortured. But I've heard of stories of my colleagues who were harassed and tortured.
Do you know what happened to Deyda Hydara?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Deyda was murdered.
Do you know how?
Yes. This was on the 16th of December. That was the anniversary of the Point paper. I could remember this morning when I went to work, he was dressed so smartly, and he was just like an uncle to me. He was very open to me, you know. He keeps teasing himself. I used to tease him, and when I saw him, he was dressed smartly and he cut his hair. I told him in one of Mr. Yangi nice. Then he said to me, "I'm under 18," you know. So we both laughed, and he went to his office. And from there, we had some visitors that came to the Point. We had some pictures, and the preparation was going on for the evening party. So I was writing my story for the Friday publication for my women column CCC. So later I left. I told them that I have a headache, I can't attend the party. I left and went home. So early morning, I received a call from one reporter called Mama Jane, she was GRS, called me and said to me, "Sarata in Wolof, fan la dej bi nekk." I said to her,
"Can you please translate that in English?"
She said to me, "Where is the funeral taking place?" I said to her, "What funeral?" And she started crying. I said, "Mama, what funeral are you talking about?" She said, "Uncle Deyda." I said, "Uncle Deyda?" She said, yes. I said, what happened? She said to me, Uncle Deyda is dead. I said, what? I said to her, I was with Deyda last night, in the evening, rather. I was with him. He wasn't sick. Then Mama told me that, no, I heard that he was shot. Then I hung up the phone. I called one of the reporters, I can't remember now. And they confirmed to me that, yes, Deyda was shot last night. And the body is at the mortuary. So you have to come, or you have to come at the point for us to go together, or you can take a van, come to Banjul. So I went to Banjul at the mortuary. We were allowed to go in to see Deyda, to lie in a pool of blood. So that was it.
Can you please tell us in what state his body was in? You said you went in and saw him. Can you please tell us in what state his body was in?
He was wrapped in white clothes, but that cloth was it's got a stain of blood on his forehead, on the chest, and on his tummy as well.
Can you please tell us what impact Deyda Hydara's death had on you and your colleagues?
It has a big impact on us, especially myself. Like I said it before, Deyda was like an uncle to me. He has given me all the opportunities to become a good journalist, train me, and whatever I have today in terms of media and reporting skills. I would like to thank Deyda for that, because he gave me the opportunity. Imagine walking to someone's office with no qualification at all. He had the belief in me and gave me the opportunity, and he doesn't know me from anywhere. I've never set my eye on him. That was the first time I saw Deyda. We were not family friends. He doesn't know any of my family members. But being a guy who who's got a great heart in empowering women and young people, Deyda was indeed a great man to me, and his loss has created a great vacuum.
You said Deyda Hydara was murdered. Can you please tell us who you think was responsible for his murder?
The government.
Why do you think the government was responsible for his murder?
Because during that time there was this media laws thing that was going on, and Deyda was a brave man that would never relent whatever he wanted to achieve as far as the safety and welfare of the journalists is concerned. So, and for the fact that he was having this column called Good Morning, Mr. President and Tidbite, he was so critical of the government. When I say critical, I don't mean to be critical in anyhow, but wherever anything that is unlawful happens, Deyda ways so to address it. He was kind of like a voice for the voiceless. So, and he has been questioned on several times, and obviously when the murder happens, everybody thinks it is the government, and that's my own belief, and up till now that's my belief. I believe it is the government, because since he was murdered, we started to put his picture on the front page of the Point newspaper, saying who killed Deyda Hydara. We keep on asking, and that doesn't go well with the president. So if he wasn't responsible, I don't think he should be that slogan should stop him.
And how do you know that the slogan, "Who killed Deyda," was disturbing the president?
Because he said it in one of his interviews. He said every time journalist keeps asking who killed Deyda, who killed Deyda. If they want to know who killed Deyda, let them go to Deyda's graveyard and ask him who killed him.
Can you please tell us about that particular interview? What led to that interview?
It was done by Keba Diba, the late Keba Diba of GRTS. And actually, I didn't watch it that very day until when I heard about it. So in the interview, he spoke inappropriately about Deyda. So our colleagues, Buya Jame, contacted her, so her story. So from there, and Deyda contacted all the executive members, and we discussed it among ourselves, and we to publish a press release. And the press release was actually authored by Deyda Sose. She was the then president of the Gambia Press Union. It was an agreement between all of us.
When was this? What year was it?
This was in 2008.
Do you remember the content of that press release?
I don't remember it because it's been a while, but basically the press release was about, it was just to condemn that speech the former president made to Deyda Hydara. It wasn't like attacking him directly, but just to make so we were kind of exercising our rights as the journalist body, because we feel like it is our duties and responsibility to make so that all the journalists, anytime any journalist is into trouble or any other thing, we should stand up for them. You know, and Deyda being a very brave and head of the Point newspaper, and he has contributed a lot in the press freedom of the Gambia. We think it was our duties to make sure that we make a stop to that, because that was not the first time. So we cannot just sit down and watch anybody talking bad things.
You said the press release was authored by Deyda Sose. Did any of the group, as you, GPU executives, did you contribute in any way to that press release?
When they authored the press release, she sent it to the media chiefs and seek for advices. So they did some of the editing, and from there she sent it to all of us to have a look. So I personally didn't edit anything and I didn't contribute anything, but after reading it, I was so impressed about what's on that press release. So I agreed to it, and then I emailed her back and said to her, yes, that's fine by me. And I believe that's how my other colleagues did.
What did you do with respect to the press release?
All I did was to read the press release. After reading it, and then I emailed Deyda and told her that I've agreed with the piece, we can go ahead with it.
And what did go ahead with it entail?
Means we can send it to the media houses for publication.
Which media houses did you send it to for publication?
It went to Poroya newspaper and The Point.
As a result of that press release, did anything happen?
Yes.
Can you please tell us about it?
When the press release was published on a Poroya newspaper on a Friday, I think it was on the 12th of June. Then Saturday, Sunday, the Point newspaper also published it. That was on Monday, the 15th of June. After the publication, at around 10 or half 10, I received a call from someone who identified himself. Sorry, he didn't identify himself actually, but he told that he was calling from the office of the president. I said to him, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm calling from the office of the president." Then at first I told him that I'm not Sarata, I'm Sarata's sister. He said to me, "Why Sarata?" I said, "Sarata is out." And he said to me, "Okay, when she comes back, tell her that she is wanted at the office of the president." Then after some minutes, he called back. I said, "Is Sarata back?" Then I said to him, "Yes, Sarata speaking." He said to me, "I called earlier on, I was told that you went out." I said to him, "Yes." He said, "Okay, I'm calling from the office of the president. You are wanted." I said to him, "Why am I at the office of the president?" He said to me, "When you arrive here, I will tell you." As soon as I hung up the phone with him, I received a call from Ibrahim Sawane of the Point newspaper. He said to me, "Point." I asked why. He said, "Because we are wanted at the office, not at the office rather, we are wanted at the NIA." I said to him, "Okay, I'm coming." With Ibrahim, email Ture, the Secretary General of GPU, called me as well and asked me to come. So this all happens within, I think, between 10 and 15 minutes. Then I took my baby because I was in my room that time. Then I took my baby. I went to my mother-in-law's room and told her that I received a call from an unknown person who told me that he was calling at the office of the president, and he said, "I'm wanted at the office of the president." And my mother-in-law was very worried. She said to me, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know what happened, but I think it might be in connection to the press release." She said, what press release?" I told her that, "Anyway, I will keep you posted when I get there." So I left her with my baby.
Sorry, just a few points of clarification before we move further. You received a call telling you that you are needed at the office of the president.
Yes.
And you received another call from your colleague Ibrahim Sawane and Emil Ture saying that you're needed at the NIA.
Yes.
The two are a bit different. One is that you're needed at the office of the president, and the ones from your colleagues are telling you that it's the NIA.
Yes.
At this point, what were you thinking?
I believe what my colleagues told me. Yeah, I believe what they told me because Ibrahim said to me, "We were wanted at the NIA." The same email told me when they came at the GPU, whilst Ibrahim was at the point. So I have the feeling that the guy that called me was not giving me the correct information, or probably I was wanted at the State House. I don't know. But that's what he told me. He said, "I'm calling from the president wanted."
Where did you go after that call?
After that, I went to the Point newspaper. That's where I met Emil and Pap Sen and Ibrahim Sawane.
Go ahead.
Yes, when I arrived at the Point newspaper, Paps told me that, did you receive any call? I said, yes. He said, who called you? I said, well, he didn't introduce himself. He just told me that he was calling from the office of the president. So he said to me, anyway, we are wanted for questioning at the NIA. So we all boarded on Pap's car, then went to the NIA headquarters in Banjul.
Upon arrival at the NIA office, what did you do?
Upon our arrival, we went to the reception where they register us, took our details. Then we were taken to one of the buildings. There is a big building. So we went there and we were seated there waiting for the officials to come. So we waited for some time. One of the officers called Lamin Dabo. He said to me, I called you and you were pretending that you were not Sarata. Then I smiled. I said, well, that wasn't me. And he said to me, I know because you were scared. I said, no, that wasn't me. He said, anyway, I was the one that called you. That was the time I knew who called me. Then from there, one officer by the name Idrissa Job, people called him Alaji Moore Job. Alaji Moore Job called me in one of the offices and said to me, we want you to log into your email because we want to know the conversation you had with Deyda Hydara. So I logged into my email and he said to me, go through everything, all the conversation you had with Deyda Hydara. So I opened that particular email and he saw the conversation.
Can you tell us what the nature of the conversation was?
The conversation was about the press release. This was when they emailed me to inform me that we should make a press release to condemn the president's interview and to condemn what the president said about Deyda. And I said to her, okay. She said to me, I've contacted others. It means the other executive members. I've contacted them. I said to her, okay. And then she sent me the press. Then I read the press release and I told her that, yes, I agree with you, but today I think this may lead to something else. So then they said to me, yes, but we have to. Then I said to her, yes, we have to. That was just my opinion because obviously I know how the president was. He doesn't like anybody challenging him. So I told them, I think this may lead. I was just assuming. That was an assumption. Yeah. So when this guy, Alaji Moore, saw that, he said to me, so you knew that this may lead to something else, but you still went ahead to associate yourself with it. I said, yes. He said to me, why? I said, because it is my duty and responsibility. I have to. And then he said to me in Wolof, you talk Mali ak domam, you kind of associating yourself with her troubles. I said to him, well, I don't see anything wrong with this. He said, then why did you say this may lead to something else? I said to him, well, I was just assuming. Then I kept quiet because I wanted to tell him that the reason I said today this may lead to something else is that because the president doesn't want anybody challenging him. But I couldn't tell him that because, hearing all sorts of things, bad things happening at the NIA. I wouldn't be that brave enough to tell him that, and the way he was approaching me, I didn't say anything to him, I just kept quiet.
In what tone or manner was he speaking to you at this time?
His tone was not, it was not nice. He was kind of like a bit harsh on me. He sounded as if the issue was between us and him. He took things personal.
You told us that at this point he told you that Naitafa is sitting in Mali and you are here with your baby. So at this point he already knew that you had a baby with you, right?
Yes.
And how old was your baby?
Baby was 6 years.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
My baby was 6.
Sorry, I missed it again because the line was breaking.
I say my baby just turned 7 months by then.
At what time did you arrive at the NIA that day?
I arrived, this was in the afternoon. That was the time we arrived there. I think, I'm not too sure, it was in the afternoon.
Would you say it was after lunch or after prayers?
After lunch, yeah.
And what time will lunch be ready usually?
Well, I think it was around 2. Yeah, around between 2 and 3, to be precise.
After looking into your email and telling you that Daitafa is seated in Mali and you are here with your child, what else happened?
I went out of the office to join my other colleagues. From there, we were taken to the conference hall. Yeah, and they took some statements from us. But Benture and Samsar, they refused to give statement.
At this point, how many of you were at the NIA?
When we arrived, it was 5. No, actually it was myself, Papsen, by Emil Toure, and Ibrahim Sawane. Then after some time, I think either Pamodu joined in or Samsar and Abubakar Sedikan. I can't remember whether Pamodu first came or Sam and Abubakar. But when we were going there, it was 4 of us. Then later on, these other people joined, and it became 7 of us.
Apart from looking into your email to check your conversations, did they tell you the reason why you were there at the NIA?
Yes, I was told by that guy, Joe. He said to me because of the press release, and he went to an extent that he was trying to persuade me, to write a letter to the president and to apologize to him. And he was telling us that the president is a very good guy. He's clean-hearted. He's kind. Just try and write this letter, then he will pardon you. Well, we all said no to that. We stood on our grounds that we were not gonna write any apology letter because we didn't think that we committed any crime.
After you've refused to write an apology letter, did they release you?
No.
Can you tell us what happened?
We were there till in the evening, and they decided to give me a bail, and they said if I can call someone to come and bail me, but the person will submit his documents like travel document and other important documents, and the person must have a land and to submit all the papers. So my father-in-law came to do all those things. He submitted all his necessary documents, and I was given the bail. That was around 7, if I could remember. Yeah, it was a bit dark by then. And Lamin Dabo drove me to my house, and he warned me not to call anyone, not to receive any calls. He warned me to switch off my phone, and it was like they were kind of hiding everything. So I have the feeling that they didn't want the state to know that they gave me a bail, but the bail was on a condition. They said I just have to go home, spend the night with my baby, and come back first thing in the morning, and I should not let anybody know.
Based on your previous testimony, it was put to a witness that you were detained at the NIA for 3 days. Now that you're telling us that you were bailed at 7 o'clock, it's clear now that you were not detained overnight at the NIA. Instead, you were bailed at 7 o'clock to be with your baby, right?
Yes, but I have to come back the following morning. It was, as I always spend the whole of the day at the NIA, and then at night they will release me to go home and spend the night with my baby. Then the following morning, first thing, my family will drove me to the NIA. So that's why I believe they were kind of hiding something, which I don't know anyway.
At what time in the morning were you usually asked to report at the NIA?
Very early, around between 7 and 8. I always have to be there before business starts.
Did you write a statement with respect to what happened?
Can you come again, please?
Were you asked to write a statement at any point?
Yes.
And when was this?
This was the first day when we went to the NIA.
Was the statement related to the apology, or was it like a different statement?
It was a different statement.
Were you charged with any offense on the first day?
No.
Do you know the reason why they asked you to write a statement?
Yes.
Can you please tell us?
It was in connection to the press release we did. So obviously they had to ask us our statement. So they took everybody's statement except Emil and Samsar.
And why were they exempted from this?
Because they refused to give a statement.
You going back and forth from the NIA to your house, how long did that last?
That was from Monday till Thursday when we were taken to court.
Can you please tell us about the time you were taken to the courts?
We were taken to Carnifing Magistrates Court on Thursday evening. This was, I think, around 6. Anyway, by then business has closed, so that was the time they took us to the court, and it was kind of like smuggling us to the court. They didn't want people to know. But to our surprise, when we arrived there, we met some of our colleagues and friends and family members there. So we were the case before a magistrate, Senabu Wada Sise, and they asked us to. That was the time they told us the charges. We were charged for sedition and defamation. Then we were asked a plea. We all said we cannot take a plea. We need our lawyers to be there. And then later on, Senabu Wada gave me a bail because of my baby. She said I can go home because I was having a baby. I can go home and sleep with my and be with my baby rather. Then she sent my colleagues to remand in Malta. Then the DPP strongly object to that, and they never overrule his objection. And then I went myself to my surprise, early morning on Friday, I was informed that I should go to the house in Banjul. They said sorry.
My apologies. The line was breaking as you were speaking. We stopped at a point where you said the DPP objected to your bill and it was overruled.
Yeah.
Can you please start from there?
Yes. When his turn was over, I went home. My colleagues were to run in. Then that was on a Friday. The morning I a call. I was in go to Ban. They said the case has been transferred from Kanifing to Banjul. Then I went to Banjul with my family members, where I met my colleagues, the 6 of them. So the case was before, I think, Justice Wu, if I could remember. Then they read the charges to us, and my bail was set remand that Friday with my colleagues.
My apologies again. The line was breaking at the time you were speaking. You said they read the charges to you, and then
Yes.
they remanded you at mile 2, and your baby was with you. That's where we stopped. Can you please continue from there?
Yes, so when we went to remand that Friday, and my lawyer Lamin Kamara was at the court. By then, he tried to convince the judge that I was a breastfeeding mother, and I don't know what other things he did, but then I spent about first hour, and he came in to tell me that I've been granted another bail.
As at the time you were sent to mile 2 remand, were you with your baby?
Yes.
Did the baby enter the prison?
Yes.
Was the baby with you when you entered the remand wing?
Yes.
For how long did you stay with the baby at the remand wing?
About 3 to 4 hours.
And what happened after that?
When lawyer Kamara came and informed me that I've been granted, so I went home. Then from there, I think the following week, that was on a Monday, my colleagues were granted.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask a question before you move further. As at the time you were at the remand wing with your baby, how did you feel?
I felt so devastated.
What was the atmosphere like at the remand wing the time you were there with the baby?
It was very bad. The atmosphere at the remand wing was so terrible because the size of the building was very small for the number of people that were there. And
sorry, how many people were there?
It was roughly about, I think, up to 10, if I could remember.
The side of the remand wing that you were at, was it the same as the men or was it separated?
It was separated.
So you were at the female side of the remand wing?
Yes.
So after you were granted bail to go home, what happened?
Yeah, then I went home, and after some days, I believe this was on the following Monday, my colleagues were also granted bail. So from there, we have been going to court every now and then for the proceedings.
You mean the trial?
Yes.
How long did that last?
I think it lasts for about, anyway, everything started in June and we were sentenced in August, yes, August 6th. So it lasts for approximately about probably 1.5 months or less.
As at that time, the time you were going to court back and forth, how many children did you have then? Was it only the baby?
I had 2 by then.
And how old was your first child?
3.
You going back and forth from your house to the courtroom, did it have any toll on your family, your children, I mean?
Yes, it did.
Can you please tell us about it?
Yeah, because every time I'm going to court, I always go with my baby, and I have to wake up very early morning. You know, even if he's asleep, I have to wake him up. And whenever I woke up, my 3-year-old also will wake up. You know, and when I'm going, she will cry. She will want to follow me. I wouldn't take her. You know, so I always go with my baby and my family members. A very good moment for us. It was a bit hard. By then, my husband wasn't there, so it was a bit hard. But thank God, I had good family members and friends who supported me very well.
You said you were convicted in August 6th. Can you please tell us about that?
Yeah, we were convicted on 6th of August on 6 counts, and we were convicted for 2 years plus a fine.
Tell us about that day in the court, how it was like, the atmosphere in the court when you were sentenced.
That day, the court, you know, very full of people. People were there, people from the media houses, the friends of media, family members, friends, you know, and some dignitaries were all they all attended the judgment, and some opposition party leaders were also around, and officers, paramilitary officers were also around. They were going around. Some of them were armed, so it was kind of like the case. Like I was like I usually said, it was as if we committed murder. You know what I mean? It was like a treason trial. You know.
You mentioned that your colleagues and family members were there. What kind of solidarity, if any, did you receive from the members of the GPU and other people?
We really had a very good support from them, from both GPU and the media fraternity and other media personnel from outside the Gambia and family members as well, because by then they was not there, but she had done everything possible to ensure that we didn't go to jail. Unfortunately, we had to, but she had made a lot of noise outside there. She had contacted everywhere. She has done all the possibility to ensure we have the support, and obviously we were well supported. We were so much supported, honestly.
So you were convicted and sentenced to serve 2 years and a fine at Mile 2. Did you serve the sentence?
Yes, we were sentenced to serve 2 years, but fortunately for us, and I would say through the help of outsiders, international organizations, we didn't spend that much. They spent 27 days. Then the 28th day was the day we were released.
You told us that you went with your baby on the day that you were convicted. What happened after the conviction was read and you were supposed to go to Mile 2? What happened to the baby?
I went with the baby. I went with him to Mile 2, and he spent 2 nights and 3 days with me. Then later he was taken from me. Some people came and told me that they are from social, I think, so fair. They said they came to take my baby to the orphanage because he was not supposed to be there.
Can you please tell us about the nights that the baby spent with you in prison?
It was a very horrible night because the mattress was one person, is a single mattress. So I spent the night with my baby on that mattress. It was just a very tiny mattress, and the bed net was in a good condition. It's got some holes, and it was not big enough to prevent the mosquitoes coming in. I didn't sleep the whole of the night. I was fanning my baby. He didn't sleep. Yeah.
roy dundu pire dama ne ana Jambangs Royal Gramo tabaski bii di ñëw man Jambangs Royal Gramo laa si taama ana jeeg ñi ana jege maane ana suma caameñ yu baax yi yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen am jabar yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen a waaj a sëy si yéen ñi nga xamante ne ni pare ngeen tabaski bi mu baax daw leen dem seeti Jambangs Royal Gramo ak Jambangs Royal Gramo ñu ngi leen fa amal li nga xam ne moom mooy jas na li nga xam ne moom mooy WhatsApp ana Facebook vainqueur di daloo ma ne VIP lay wóor man ana borom takay cuubi takkaa ngi nii dama ne dem leen seeti Jambangs Royal Gramo Jambangs Royal Gramo nag amal leen cuubi façon xeet bu nekk bu leen demee nag ñu jaay leen ko si price bu yomba yóbbul leen ko ba fu ngeen bugg mu àgga ba tey nag kon ko bugg si cuubi yi mun ngaa call ki nga xam ne moom mooy Jambangs Royal Gramo si 78 255 87 78 255 87 mbete nga oo ko si 299 2967 299 2967 mbate ba tey rek mun ngaa email xale bi nga xam ne moo nekk si si gannaaw Jambang Royal Glamour ba tey it.
So
at what time of the day did you enter mile 2?
This was in the afternoon, I think around 3, yeah, because the judgment took about long hours, because when the judge started, before giving advice, he said to us he wanted to take a break, he needed to speak to someone, which we all believe was the president, or someone very close to the president. So he went in, it took him about an hour or two, and he came out and gave the verdict. Then I think we went to mile 2, this was around between 2:30 or 3, or between 3:30, 3. I can't remember, honestly.
You've just told us that before the judge delivered the verdict, he went inside to talk to someone. Can you please tell us more about that?
Well, he said the court needs to excuse him. He needs someone. So he went back to his chambers. People were waiting for him for about an hour or half, or 1.5 hours. Then he came back. When he came back, he just did the ruling. That was it. I have no idea what he was talking about there, but I have to believe he was either talking to the president or someone very close to the president.
And what is this belief based on?
Because imagine being a judge, having heard from both the parties, the lawyers of the defendants and the accused and the DPP, everybody were waiting for you to make a judgment. All of a sudden, you just call it off and went into your chambers. And he said, I need to someone first. So that's why I have the belief that I might be speaking to the president or someone close to the president.
And did you think that particular time he spent inside talking to the person that you didn't know he was talking to, do you think that had any influence on the judgment?
Yes, I have that feeling that it's got influence on it, because I feel like probably he was instructed by that, before giving the verdict, he said he needed to speak to someone. So obviously, that's what everybody would think, that he went to take an instruction from someone.
You mentioned that you entered mile 2 around 3 in the afternoon, and you also stated that you spent the entire night trying to flag the mosquitoes away from your child and that you were hungry. As at the time you entered mile 2, were you given any food?
Yes.
What food were you given?
Rice and domoda.
Were you able to eat the food?
No.
And why was that?
I wasn't in the mood to eat, and even if I were in the mood, I wouldn't be able to swallow that food because something.
My apologies. Can you please repeat what you said? You said you were not in the mood to eat the food, and even if you were in the mood,
I wouldn't be able to swallow the food due to the nature of the food.
You've told us about the mattress that you had to lie on and the mosquito net that was there. Can you please describe the cell for us?
Cell was like a big a big hole, and they put mattresses on top of the. Are you guys seeing me? I can't see. Okay, sorry. So
We
it
can
was
see
like
you
a
clearly.
big. I wasn't seeing like a big hole. Like when you entered, like they put mattresses uh, on the floor, and each mattress is like a single one. So it was like everybody we get her own mattress. Because by then the convict, it was the wing and the convict. So the remand is where you'll be waiting until you've been done.
My apologies, Madam Sarata. We've been having several breakages as you were speaking. Can you please start again, just describing the cell?
Okay, this cell is just like a big hole, and they put mattresses on the floor. So each person would have one mattress to sleep on. It's a small size mattress, and because that place wasn't that full like remand, so everybody's got their own mattress. Well, in my case, it was different because I went with a baby, so it was like two of us had to share that small mattress, and it's got yeah.
It's got what? Sorry, I didn't get that part clearly.
2 toilets.
How was the ventilation like?
It wasn't very good because the size of the hall, the cell, I would say, it's got only 2 windows.
You've told us about the first night you spent at mile 2 with the baby. Can you please tell us about the second and the third night? Or the day, throughout the day, what it was like for you having a baby in mile 2?
The daytime was the same, because at mile 2, both day and night, you will see flies and mosquitoes going around, and the place was not very hygienic for people living, especially a child. Yeah. So my baby, when we first entered there, he was just staring at us, and we were welcome. And I could remember the late Tabara Samba was calling him her husband. Means since we entered here, we didn't see any man. So this is the first man I saw. So he's gonna be my husband. So they were the inmates were very welcoming, and they were supportive, because I could remember when they gave me the lunch to eat, I didn't start. One of the inmates told me that local fish, that's what I would, and it means this is prison, and it's never prison. Just try and eat. But the atmosphere in that place wasn't very conducive.
You've told us that on the third day, people from the social welfare came to pick the baby. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, on the third day, this was, I think, around midday, was on Sunday. Some people came from social welfare, and one officer came to the cell and called me and said to me bring your baby. So we went to the office. I think the office was by David Collins' office, and this lady was one lady and two men. They introduced themselves to me and told me that they are from social welfare, and they were there to take my baby to the orphanage. And I asked them why. They said because the baby is not meant to be here. This is not the place for the baby. He hasn't done anything, so he shouldn't be here. Then I told them, well, the judge already knows that because my lawyers told him that I could be given an opportunity to stay home until I win my baby, then I can come and serve my term. But anyway, the judge doesn't want to listen. So if you people know that this place is not meant for the baby, I think the judge should be made to understand that. Anyway, my lawyer already told him that, but he just turned a blind eye on it, and he decided to take me to jail with my baby. So my baby is not going anywhere. Then we started push and pulling, and they said they must take the baby because that's an instruction that the baby should go. I said, after spending 2 nights and on 3 days, what's the point of taking him away? I think the first thing they should have done was not to allow me to go in that jail with the baby. But then if you allow me to come to jail and spend 2 nights, 3 days with the baby, there is no point. When 1 hour or 100 years, the damage has already been done because he was not supposed to be there at the first place. So we started push and pulling. They took the baby from me, and I was holding the baby. The baby hold my uniform, because when you're convicted, you're given a uniform. This is a khaki. It's a very hard one. So he hold that because obviously being a baby doesn't mean that he doesn't know who his mom was, and seeing strangers, he wouldn't easily fall in for them, to go with them. So we push and pull. The baby was crying. They just had to take the baby, and the prison officers told me that, you know what, you have to leave the baby with them, and it's time for you to go back to the cell. So they took him away.
Do take your time, Madam Sarata. I'm sorry that you had to go through all of these. Maybe you should just take a glass of water to calm your nerves a bit. Can we continue now?
Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned that there was a push and pull as to whether they should take the baby or not. Can you tell us if the push and pull only entailed like the use of words, or whether there was any physical thing to it?
No, there wasn't like the nature of that scenario was just they hold the baby inside and the baby, so they were kind of taking the baby, and that was it. They didn't anything back to me, and they didn't have me, so that was it.
Did you tell them that you did not want the baby to go to the orphanage?
Yes, I told them.
Did you give
But
them
they said to me, they were gonna call my family members to come and get the baby, and they said, anyway, we will call your family members, and we will make sure tomorrow first thing we will bring the baby for you to breastfeed.
Was that what happened? Did they bring the baby the following morning to breastfeed?
They never did that.
Were you expecting the baby to be brought the following morning?
Yes.
And when they didn't bring the baby the following morning, how did you feel about that?
Felt so heartbroken because I was expecting to see my baby that following morning. Because the whole of the night I didn't sleep. I was thinking at least if I see the baby that morning, probably my mind will be at rest. At least I'll breastfeeding. And you know how it's like when you don't breastfeed. When you don't breastfeed, you tend to be sick. So I wasn't feeling well that morning, and they didn't bring the baby. I asked officers. They said, "Well, nobody has come in, so you have to wait until the baby is here. Then we will take you out to go and breastfeed." So baby didn't come on Monday. They didn't bring him on Tuesday until Wednesday.
As at this time, did your family have access to you?
No.
Did your family know that they took the baby away?
They were not aware of it. That first day, I think it was the second day, because the first day was on a Sunday. So it was on the second day, I think my lawyer contacted my family.
After your lawyer contacted your family, what happened?
So that was the time they knew that baby was with me. Then my sister and my mother-in-law, they went to find the baby. And from what I was told when I was released, that short period when the baby was away had a very great impact on my mother. Sleep.
I'm really sorry for cutting you off, but the line keeps breaking. You said that period when your baby was away, it had an effect on your mother-in-law. Am I correct?
Yes.
Please
Yes.
go on from there.
Yeah, from what I was told is that she doesn't nice sitting down, talking to herself and saying, Mohammed is crying, I can hear Mohammed crying, saying that in Mandinka. And saying, oh my God. And she will be calling my name, calling Mohammed's name, and she will tell one of her granddaughter, wake up, let's go and take Mohammed. Mohammed is crying. And that was, I think, they said it was around midnight and 1 o'clock when everybody's asleep. So that was a very big effect on her because the baby was so close to her. She was the one looking after the baby whenever I go to work. So.
Do you need some time to just cool off, then we start again?
Yeah.
So what eventually made them bring the baby back to you?
Well, I wouldn't know. On Thursday and then on Wednesday, one of the said to me, "Come to the office, your baby is here." So I went to the office. As soon as my baby he started crying, and they passed him to me. And when I hold him, I wanted to breastfeed him, and he was also craving for breast. So they said to me, "No, you cannot breastfeed him because he has been away for some days. So if you breastfeed him, it's not gonna help him. We've always been giving him some milk and some food stuff, so you can breastfeed him." And I said to them, "I will breastfeed him. I've always been cleaning my breast every morning. I always make sure squeeze my breast to take that milk out because I've always been looking forward to breastfeed my baby whenever I see him." They said to me, "No." That was another push and pull. Baby was crying. He put his hand in my uniform and wanted to take the breast out. They said no. They hold the baby and I hold the baby. They said no. So baby was crying and I was crying. Then they took the baby from me, and when they were going, baby was crying again and I was crying. But they had to take him, and one of the officers from the social welfare was even crying. He said to me, "I'm a man, but I could feel your pain." No. And he said to me, "We are very sorry, but this is how we operate, so there is nothing we could do to help you." So that was it. They took him away, and I think it was that evening Laura Camara made arrangements for my family to go and take him from the orphanage.
In what condition was the baby when you saw him after 3 days?
He looks totally different compared to the day he left. I believe it was, excuse me. I believe it was because of lack of being breastfed, and having been away from his mom had a very great impact on him. He lost some weight, so he actually looks so different anyway.
After seeing him in that condition, how did you feel?
I felt so devastated. I felt helpless. I couldn't help it. I had to break into tears because I feel like my baby was punished for no reason. Because even myself, I was jailed for not committing any crime, because I don't see that as a crime. It was just trying to express our opinion, trying to do our duties and responsibility. So if I have issue with the government, I don't think that issue should my baby should be part of that. I felt like my baby's human right was very violated. His human right was violated as a child, and very innocent for that matter.
Essentially, you felt that both you and your baby were being punished for doing absolutely nothing, right?
Yes, but my side of the story is, I wouldn't feel this way if it wasn't because of the baby. If it were just myself alone, because obviously when everything started, we all knew that we didn't commit any crime. It was just because of the way the president wanted it to be, because he was the president, he's got the power. he just used that power, advantage against us. But that's a different case. I wouldn't feel this way because being a journalist, obviously, as I should expect that. When I was starting the job, I obviously have that at the back of my mind. Anything can happen. And when after reading that statement, obviously I know that anything can happen, and I was very ready for it because I had to make sure I stood up for my colleagues because that's why I was voted in, But the reason I felt so bad and so devastated is because of the baby, and for the fact that I could have been given that opportunity to choose whether to go with my baby, whether to wing my baby and go to prison, or to stay home until after I win my baby and come back to prison to serve my term. And these opportunities were not given to me. And obviously, that's a violation of my right and that of my child.
From that day on, did you breastfeed the baby again, or was that just the weaning process for him?
No, I breastfeed him later. From that day, my lawyers made some arrangements for family members to be bringing him every morning and afternoon, twice a day, to breastfeed him.
Can you please tell us about those visits?
Usually they will bring him in the morning, and when they bring him, they will take me from the cell to there's a veranda opposite the office. They will bring him, and then I'll sit there with anybody that brings him in and the officers. So I'll breastfeed him for sometimes like I think 15 or 20 minutes. And it depends on the person, the officer that take me out. Sometimes some of them will give me more time, let's say for instance up to 20 minutes to be with him, and some instance if they come late they wouldn't be allowed to come in, and baby will be crying at the door because it went to a certain point whereby he recognizes the place. He recognizes the mile too. So whenever they comes at the gate, he is always eager to go in. And some of the staffs were like nice to him. Some of them will be calling him my husband. And sometimes when they come to call me, they will say to me, Mohammed Rew, because when they are trying to pick him, he wouldn't allow. So they call him Mohammed Rew. Well, anytime they deny them entry, he will be crying, and even with that crying, that wouldn't make them smile. He will go back until in the afternoon. So that was it. And that was it again. They brought him for breastfeeding. He brought him and came with my.
dama ne Jambang Royal Glamour ngeen ànd see xale bu yàñña bii di Fatou Jambang nekk nag si Jambang Royal Glamour fas yéene defante ak yéen yu baax si tabaski bii dama ne man tabaski bii nii Jambang Royal Glamour laay woon Jambang Royal Glamour roy dundu roog piir roy dundu roog piir roy dundu roog piir dama ne Jambang Royal Glamour nag toj na fi roy dundu roog piir roy dundu roog piir roy dundu roog piir dama ne ana Jambang Royal Glamour tabaski bii di ñëw man Jambang Royal Glamour laa si taama ana jeeg ñi ana jege maani ana suma càmmeñ yu baax yi yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen am jabar yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen a waaj a sëy si yéen ñi nga xamante ne ni pare ngeen tabaski bi mu baax daw leen dem seeti Jambang Royal Glamour ak Jambang Royal Glamour ñu ngi leen fa amal li nga xam ne moom mooy jas na li nga xam ne moom mooy WhatsApp ana Facebook 24 di daloo ma ne VIP lay wóor man ana borom takay cuubi takkaa ngi nii dama ne dem leen seeti Jambangs Royal Glamour Jambangs Royal Glamour nag amal leen cuubi façon xeet bu nekk bu leen demee nag ñu jaay leen ko si price bu yomba yóbbu leen ko ba fu ngeen bugg mu àgga ba tey nag kon ko bëgg si cuubi yi mun ngaa call ki nga xam ne moom mooy Jambangs Royal Glamour si 78 255 87 78 255
my mother-in-law goes in with the baby and my daughter would stay. My mother-in-law pleaded with them. They said no, that's the rules. Two people cannot go in at the same time. And my daughter was just 3 years old. They left her at the door and my mother-in-law came in and the baby. So I was so worried and concerned because we all know where my school is situated, and because it's on the highway, nobody would be there to look at the daughter. So I had to plead with one of the officers. I saw him coming, I think it's called Sonko. I said to him, could you kindly help me? My daughter is outside, please help me to bring her here. So he was the one that helped my daughter in, and excuse me, when my daughter came in, she was so worried, and she said to me, "Mommy, I heard that you know they had killed you." Said, "Well, no, that's not one." She said, "So why are you dressed like this?" So I said to her, "This is my dress," and she said, "You don't usually dress." I said, "Yeah, it's okay. It's okay." I tried to control my emotion that day, because it went to a certain point where I already got used to the place, because I knew that nothing easy was gonna take me out of that place. So I just take it with good faith, So when they went home, I was told that after my release, I was told that my daughter even had to ask one of her cousins, "Can we swap moms? Can my mom be your mom and your mom be my mom?" And her cousin said, "Why?" I said, "Because my mom is in prison. Might not come out because kill people." That was it. And after that day, my daughter was not brought to my door anymore, because it had lots of effects on her, seeing like that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I'm taking note of the time right now, and I'm already 2 minutes past the normal time. I need about 10 minutes just to finish up with her.
So you would rather do that and we don't come back after the break, or we take a break now and then come back for a few minutes, or what?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, given that it's a Skype call, I wonder if we can actually finish our evidence now, then take a break later for the next witness. Just about 15 minutes, I'll be done.
Fine, please proceed.
I'm grateful. And for how long were you at Mile 2?
I was there for about 27, then 28 at night. We were.
Sorry, did you say it's 27 days?
Yes, 27 days. We spent 27 days. Then the 28th one, that was the day we were granted in at night.
Can you please tell us what led to your release?
I believe it was the help of international organizations and other friends of media, and including GPU, our colleagues and family members, and most importantly, our president Deyda Hydara. She has done lots of interviews to make sure everybody is aware of what was going on. She has contacted lots of people. She has worked so tirelessly to make sure that we are released. So she involved lots of human rights organizations, Amnesty and other human rights journalists. So the story was all over the world. And even I could remember there was this journalist, Umar Fofana, who came to my house to visit my baby, and baby was crying. By then they were supposed to come to Mile 2 for breastfeeding, and on the whole, Umar was recording, and my mother-in-law never knew what was going on. Umar was recording babies crying, and they had to play this on BBC Focus on Africa. That one also had some great impact towards the the release, because as we all know, Jammeh is someone that doesn't, sometimes when the noise is too much, he can't stand it, So everybody played their role very well. Our lawyers, other NGOs, everybody were so supportive. They were so supportive, So I believe it was because of that. He just pardoned us, and he tried to say it was because of Ramadan. After spending 13 days of Ramadan in prison, I believe if it was because of Ramadan, he would have pardoned us the first day of Ramadan.
Can you please just generally tell us the conditions that you were living in Mile 2? The food, you've already described the cell to us and how you slept. Can you please tell us about the food and access to toilet facilities?
The food was so terrible because it was the men prisoners who usually cook the food, and they just cook it anyhow. So you will be eating the food is half cooked. You have to take flies out, So, and obviously the way the food tastes was nice. Sometimes the way the meat, whenever you eating, the meat is rotten. Excuse me. You'll realize that the meat is rotten, so which is not good for people's health. So, but then there was no way, for us, there was no opportunity. We have to eat it. Initially, when I went in there for I think the first 2 days, I've not been eating. I was just taking water, and they were encouraging me. At the end, I had to try and eat, and some officers were so nice to me. Sometimes when they buy their breakfast, they'll eat and give me remaining. So the place was not good at all. The condition of the place, and it was just two toilet and bathroom, and everybody will be given a soap. The soap bar, they will cut it. When they cut it into small pieces, it looks as small as this, like your finger when you cut. That's the size of the soap they will give you. That's what you will use to have that with. And I could remember I once used the toilet and take the soap. My soap was finished. I took the soap from the girl that was in charge of the cell. So one of these inmates started shouting at me, said to me, "Buljel sabubi sa papa jenduko." And that lady was totally different from others because she's a bit rough, Well, the condition at that place was not good at all. It's so terrible, and even if you're sick, you have to be lying down there. I saw a lady who had a miscarriage. she was taken to the hospital, and the doctor advised that she shouldn't take cold water, she should take warm water every morning. But there is no gas there. There is nothing, to use for this lady to have access to hot water. Officers couldn't do anything, so those are some of the things that I believe they should have worked on, because this lady was lying down there crying. Imagine having a miscarriage, without being looked after. So the health condition, the health facility, there was no health facility at all. If you're sick, that's it, you're sick. Yeah, if it gets worse, they will take you to the hospital. But thank God, I wasn't sick as such, so I didn't go to the hospital. I was just there managing things. But honestly, the condition of the place is the worst. I'll call that place hell on earth.
You've already told us about the impact of your incarceration on your child and on your mother-in-law. What was the impact of this whole process? What was the impact of it on your own life?
It had a very big effect on my life, I would say psychologically, because during the period I spent there, to be honest with you, I haven't been sleeping. I can't tell you that I've slept the whole night, no, because it was like I was there physically, but psychologically or mentally I wasn't there. It had a very big impact on my like it has a great impact on the way I was, I don't know how to put this. I will be chatting with people there. Sometimes I'll be smiling when there is nothing wrong, nothing funny was going on, and someone will just tell me, "Why do you smile?" Because at the end, I just feel like, how would I be when I leave this place after 2 years? I feel like time wasn't even going. I feel everything was just where it was. It had a very big impact on my life, but then I had to take it with good faith. I was thinking about, life after this place. I was thinking about, I don't know what my kids are going through, what they are facing. Although fans were supportive, my sisters, every now and then they will be visiting. They contributed a lot, family members and other media houses members, even political party members. Usain Udabo, what's his name? Uncle Khalifa. He always visit my house, and everybody was supportive. The female lawyers, the current Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Toure, they had to make a coalition, like to form, a delegation to write a letter to the president on my behalf. Everybody has done their quota. They've all supported me either one way or the other. But then the psychological effect was still on me. And at the end, when I was even released, if I go out, like at the market, if I see prison officers, I always divert my route. Yeah, I always divert it. And up till now, anytime I start thinking about it, it affects me. Yeah, simply because of the way my son's right was violated, just because this guy thought he is the Superman, he is everything. He took the law in his hand to punish my son.
After your release, did you remain in the Gambia?
After my release, yeah, I was in the Gambia for some time. I went to Burkina Faso with Deyda and to attend human rights conference. Then from there, I was still going to Point to work, because after the release, it gave me more strength, because already I knew what was in there, and it motivated me more to continue on the job, because I said to myself, I'm not gonna relent. Whatever will happen. I'm not gonna relent. I will make sure I continue with the job. You know. So then from there, after some time, I was invited in Ireland with the help of Deyda Hydara. I went to attend human rights conference as well. So yeah, that was it.
And from your statement, it is from that conference that you decided to seek for asylum to join your husband, correct?
Yes. After the conference, I do interviews, because most of them knew about my story. And even when I was there, I was in touch with they, and some of them knows they very well. And we had some chat, and you know, they asked me about the climate of, being the climate of the media laws and the freedom of expression in the Gambia. So I tend to give them some of my opinions, and then from there, the day I was meant to go back, I decided that I think I should just go and see my husband and just stay, because I didn't realize that these journalists that had interviewed with me, although I don't know them, but they know my boss, and I feel like probably it's going to be published. It could be published anywhere, and I don't know. I have no idea, but I feel like it was going to be a very big risk for me to go back, because after our release, I could remember Jammeh made some threats. He was saying, I think this was in before or after our release, he was saying, if I'm done with this journalist, they will know who I am. And I have the feeling that if I go back, I might be arrested, and he might take me to, there's, to humiliate. I say, this is the lady that is so ungrateful to me. After partying her with her colleagues, she went to and started talking bad things about me, because he always used to say I paid by these Western people, and because by then the American used to do this one, and I could remember he once said that in one of his statements that we were paid by them not going. So I had the feeling that if I go back, he's gonna say the same thing. I might be arrested. So when I was given the interview, I didn't realize, I didn't put that into consideration. I was just ready to voice out my opinion. So when I left Ireland, I came to England. Then I decided to stay.
Thank you very much, Madam Sarata, for answering all of my questions. And thank you for sharing your painful story with us. Mr. Chairman?
You're most welcome.
That will be all from me for the witness. I'll hand her over to you. Thank you.
A breastfeeding baby recognizing prison surroundings is a very sad commentary indeed on our country. I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Jabi, you had to go through that, what you endured, and what the little innocent baby endured as well. Thank you for a very moving testimony, and I don't have any questions to ask. Maybe Commissioner Kaha, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is just a little clarification on your baby. Where is he now, and what is he doing?
He's with me here, and he's gone to school.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Mrs. Jabi, I have a couple of questions about baby Mohammed and the manner in which he was taken away from you from mile 2, because it borders on child protection issues, which we're also mandated to look into. In your testimony, you narrated that social welfare informed you that they received instructions to take him away from you. Did they provide any documentation to this effect?
No, they didn't show me any documentation.
Did you sign any temporary release form when you were handing him over?
No, all they told me was that they had a chat with my lawyer. So I was thinking that probably the lawyer acted on my behalf, but that wasn't clear to me.
My final question is regarding his health. Was there any form of assessment that was done before he was taken away from you? And was this also done when he was finally returned back to your family to ascertain whether he had any health conditions before going in or before being taken away from you and upon his return?
There was nothing like that. They didn't assess him and they didn't even ask me whether he's got any health issues. All they did was just to inform me that the baby was not supposed to be there and it is their duty to come and take the baby to the orphanage.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kinte, yeah, I'm coming on. Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor.
Sir, please accept my sympathy. It was very
Thank
emotional.
you.
It's outside that sphere of baby Muhammad and yourself. You made some revelation that a lady had a miscarriage in the prison. Please, if you do know, how old was her pregnancy when she had been in prison?
Well, I didn't know how old was her pregnancy. Know that it was an early stage because you can tell by looking at her. We only know when the miscarriage took place. That was the time we knew that she was pregnant because I think she came in, I think, a few days. Then later this miscarriage took place.
Thank you. Commissioner Samba.
Sarja, I want to ask, why did they take baby Mohammed to the orphan center, being knowing that you have a family to take care of baby Mohammed?
I wasn't told the reason. They didn't tell me any reason. I was just kept there like that, as if I didn't have any right to my child. They didn't explain anything to me. All I was told was that we have to take this baby out of this place because he is not meant to be here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And if there are no further questions, Mrs. Jabi, do you have any closing remarks to make? I know it's a difficult testimony for you, quite moving, as I said earlier, but if you have any closing words of advice, perhaps, and suggestions, please proceed to make them now.
Thank you, everybody at the Trrc. I would like to say a big thank you to my family and colleagues at the media, and for the Trrc also I would like to say once again thank you for giving me this opportunity to come here and share my story. And what I would like to say to my colleagues, particularly female journalists, journalism is a noble cause. It's a noble profession, I would say. It is a very noble profession. And if anybody wants to go in for it, you have to make sure, you have to be strong. And you always have to make sure you go by the rules and the ethics as well. And always make sure, don't allow your enemies, to make you become fair, to relent whatever you want to pursue in life. And I would also want to make a suggestion for the current government to ensure there is very good relationship. I know right now it's totally different from Jammeh era, but then whatever they are doing in terms of promoting the press freedom, they should just double it up, because press fraternity, I would say, press members, they have a very important role to play in the society, and the Gambian people should also understand that we as a press members, we are doing a very good job, and people should respect us on that. Because the time I was in the Gambia, most of the press members are not seen as good professional. People don't tend to take them seriously. But what they fail to understand is that we are always risking our life to ensure that we educate and inform the general public. So wherever people are, or no matter what, let's try and ensure that we respect the member of the press. The Gambia Press Union are doing really well, and we've got quite a number of people who are pursuing this profession into a very higher level, and female journalists and reporters should be given the opportunity to make sure that they become very good role model in the society. And I would also like to thank the FLAG, the Female Journalists Association, and other organizations like GAMCO Trrc, or when Dr. Isaac Ture was the Director General, and other women associations, people like Ami Sheila, for the great jobs they've done, for standing in solidarity with myself, because my case was not exceptional, but it was because of the baby that was involved. That what makes it exceptional. Well, I see everything the same, because the crime we were accused of was me and my colleagues. Everything was the same. I don't see myself as being different from them. It was just because of the baby, and for the fact that these organizations have taken a very strong move to ensure that they condemn the imprisonment of my baby. Want to say I'm very, very grateful to all of you, and I'm very grateful to Deyda Hydara for making sure that she speaks out, and making sure that she tries to contact everybody around the world to ensure that we didn't spend that 2 years there. And to say a big, big thank you to my family, my husband, and friends, colleagues, everybody. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, for those words. And we will take a 30-minute break, come back at 12:30 sharp. Meeting is adjourned.
roy pir ah dama ne ana Jambangs Loyal Gramo tabaski bii di ñëw man Jambangs Loyal Gramo laa si taama ana jeeg ñi ana jege maani ana ana suma caameñ yu baax yi yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen am jabar yéen ñi nga xam ne da ngeen a waaj a sëy